Hey everyone, it's Jack and Adam from Cultaholic.com. Tom's not here at the minute, but I watched yours and his news video yesterday, I think it was. What's with Barry the Shark? What's that about?
Tom looked to humiliate me yesterday by underplaying my triumphant return to the channel after a whole week away with Barry the Shark, which he paid for with his own money to do that
No,
bit.
he didn't.
No, he did.
Oh, God. Oh, let's just look at the news. I can't believe that. First up, a major return could be in the works for WWE. Next up, rumours of a second draft incoming for WWE. And finally, an update on plans for the Fiend Bray Wyatt going forwards. So first of all, yes, let's go to the Wrestling Observer newsletter where a major return could be in the works for WWE because this whole Wednesday Night War is incoming. Everyone's racing to collect arms, who's going to have the biggest show and everything. And according to Dave Meltzer, WWE have taken quite an unexpected step. Or is it unexpected? I don't know, because everyone comes back eventually.
Yeah, I think for one half of this team that we're about to talk about, it's unexpected. The other, very, very welcome, in fact.
So, with a view to making them a top pair of names on the NXT brand once it moves to TV, the report here is that WWE have been in contact with Enzo and Cass, which is surprising given the controversial nature of both men's respective exits from the company and the whole controversy surrounding them since. Like Enzo showed up at Survivor Series that time and cut a promo in the front row. They both obviously were part of that really badly done worked shoot at the Ring of Honor New Japan show in MSG.
That went somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, but you know, I think that a lot of people were saying even at that time when Enzo seemed to be severing all ties with WWE that charisma will always bring you back, or star power will always bring you back, and he does have charisma in abundance.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? I think Vince has always said that if there's money to be made, that he will repair bridges and bring people back. And I genuinely do think Enzo and Cass are money. We saw it in NXT. They were so unbelievably over. Cass has transformed himself magnificently. Yeah. He was pretty out of shape, I think it's fair to say, as I sit here looking like this. But he was dealing with alcohol issues, and in the past 6-7 months, he has absolutely transformed himself. He looks amazing. I saw a photo of him the other day. He is shredded, and not only that, he's been incredibly apologetic for his behaviour. He said that he deserved to be fired. Right. Enzo,
has
of course,
not said that.
no, he has a rap career of sorts. It will be interesting because I think people will be really behind Cass coming back, but maybe not so much Enzo.
I think they'd have to be heels if they came out together.
Really?
Which is weird to say because they're such a babyface act together, aren't they? But I mean, the initial pop I think would be huge. But then, as Meltzer has pointed out here, I think there would be sort of a social media backlash, and to kind of prevent that from ruining their babyface push, I think you'd have to make them heels eventually, or just bring them back as heels. Yeah,
perhaps you're right. I don't know. I want to get behind Cass. I saw the interview that he did.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And the guy is just like, it's really nice when people just admit to their mistakes.
Yeah.
And when he's saying, I was causing trouble backstage. I wasn't as professional as I should have been, but then he's looked to make himself a better person. Right. I think that's a really nice story.
That is
I
good.
guess, but it doesn't help that Enzo is going to be on his side and has continued to be a bit of a bellend.
Yeah. Well, we don't know how true this is or how close this is to, I guess, being a reality. But if it were, I think that would be at least in terms of the initial ratings, it would be a bit of a boost to NXT, wouldn't it? I mean, it's a big shock, and I think that people would tune in to see that if news got out ahead of time.
Yeah, I agree. And the interesting note here is that they're going to be top stars on the NXT brand should they return. They never held a title together, did they? They never held the tag titles. I guess Enzo did, obviously, the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, he
but
did.
Together, they never held. I think I'd like to see it. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think I agree, and then I think we'd have diminishing returns as it went on. I don't know, it's very interesting, but, well, if any more emerges about this story, we'll keep you updated, because it is a pretty big one, I think. Next up, let's talk about the draft, because there was already a draft earlier, or a SuperStar Shakeup, or was it a draft? No, it was a SuperStar Shakeup earlier this year, and then that just got totally made
within weeks, the wild card rule was introduced and everything went to you know what.
Well, originally it was going to be 3 superstars from Raw can jump to SmackDown and 3 superstars from SmackDown can jump to SmackDown.
Then the next night it was 4, and then it's just as many as you want. And we don't even mention it really in videos anymore. It's just to be expected that you're going to get Raw guys on SmackDown and vice versa. They still have the Raw name slates or the SmackDown name slates, but it's a mess. and it's led to a complete oversaturation of certain people. You're seeing them pop up on both shows, taking away screen time of other people.
Yeah.
This is very welcome news as far as I'm concerned.
Me too. I mean, depending on what the state of WWE is at the time, I'm not for or against having a brand split, but at this time I think a brand split is very much what's needed. The roster's huge. They've got too many people to be just cramming them all into the same super brand, I suppose. So yeah, this is very welcome news as well. But the nature of it, according to Dave Meltzer, is a bit of a loose one. I'm not quite sure what he means here, but I think he means it's more of not a hard draft, but more of a minor shake-up, I guess.
Yeah, I think maybe you'll see. I'm not sure if this is going to be a full show, another Superstar Shakeup this soon on. I think that would be quite embarrassing, in fact, to do at this point. They just need to do it. Maybe a few people, if they've got storyline reasons for bringing people over, or like just stories in the work for those people, just stick to it. Stick to it, because it's so frustrating.
I mean, he says that right now there's another concept of a draft. There's a concept of another draft type of thing to build permanent Raw and SmackDown rosters. What we were originally told is that they wouldn't be making major changes, but some changes. But this is Vince. Bit of a shot of Vince there from Meltzer. Everything is being kept quiet, and USA and Fox will be the first to know when the concept's decided. So originally I thought the wildcard rule, and it may well have been, would be to appease both networks, because, they're going, well, we want Lesnar. But now with this, in effect, is it going to cause a bit of discontent because some people are missing out on the big star, or like a particular one they've got their eye on?
Perhaps there is an opportunity here that has just sort of sprung to mind, is that with NXT going to TV, maybe it does make sense to make this its own show and give it a thing, and have like established Raw or SmackDown superstars going over to NXT to give more star power there, and then it feels like a big deal. Yeah,
that makes sense as well. I think they should just have a USA and Fox draft. Both networks should simulcast and just legitimately pick which ones they want on their show. I'd watch that. That would be really exciting.
What, a boardroom with a load of TV execs?
No, but you want to know who's going to be getting who. It would be tactical. It'd be like fantasy football, but with wrestling. And
like the old days of the draft.
Well, yeah, but real. But this is a shoot draft. That would be amazing. I want it. If USA and Fox can just get together. Because think how annoyed they'd be if they really wanted Lesnar and then the other side took Lesnar. Fox are like, oh man.
If you were a TV exec, you knew nothing about wrestling, and you saw the roster page, who
Strowman.
You thinking? Yes,
Strowman,
big lad. Roman, handsome.
John Cena. And they're like, oh, he's only available for 2 weeks of the year. You've messed up now. Yeah. Oh, I want it so much.
Make it happen.
Next up, let's go to Japan, where there is news that because of the Olympics next year, of course. By the way, do you like the Olympics? Are you one of those people who gets invested?
I don't get massively invested. I'll watch a couple of the bits. I like hurdles.
You like hurdles?
Yeah, I like hurdles.
I like when the nation just gets behind the curling team. That's Winter Olympics, but the nation just gets behind an unlikely sport and everyone suddenly is an expert on it. Like, whoa.
I'm a complete fair weather fan. World Cup comes around, and I think I know nothing about football, but 3 lines on the shirt.
Yeah, of course, football's coming home. And the Olympics are coming to... That was such a Tom Campbell trend. Football's coming home. And the Olympics are coming to Tokyo, Japan in 2020, which does affect the pro wrestling world in that the G1 Climax, New Japan's big annual tournament, and thought by many to be the best tournament in world wrestling, has been slightly shifted next year, or will be slightly shifted, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, just to be kind of moved along a little bit. So I guess the Olympics are going to be using some of the same venues.
Yes.
And they'll be drawing a lot of attention as well from the general public, I imagine.
You mentioned upstairs that you think this is probably quite a good thing, just because it spaces out the sort of big New Japan calendar events a little bit more. I
do think it's a good thing. Like in any big wrestling promotion, it all builds to something, and there's always the down period. So like the post-Mania period, and then it builds to SummerSlam, and so with WWE follows that model, and then it all picks up again in January when the Rumble comes around. But in New Japan, it gets big in January when there's Wrestle Kingdom, their big annual show, and then the next big peak, I guess, is the summer, because you've got Dominion and the best and the G1 Climax. But the best of the Super Juniors comes in May, Dominion historically comes in June, and then shortly after that it's the G1, and you get all these big peaks of the wrestling calendar for New Japan crammed into like a few months. And I think this forces them to space it out a little bit more, and that means that there's less of a dip basically in the winter waiting for January to come round. I think that New Japan sort of dips after the G1 into January, like now basically, and that reduces that gap. I don't know if that's what's going to happen or not, but I think it's probably going to be a good thing. It might force them to stretch out their calendar a bit more, and we'll see how it goes. But then I don't know how holding the tournament in the summer might be a positive, might affect like how many people go to the shows and stuff.
Sure. I think the real big question here is, what does this mean for Wrestlers of the Week?
What do you mean?
Does this change anything? Does it make it more competitive because you've got other stuff in the fall happening?
I think by moving the G1, I think always gives some New Japan lads a boost. And I think that by leaving that a bit later on in the year, it's going to keep things unpredictable. I mean, it makes the G1 mean more. Yeah. It's going to make the G1 mean more for Wrestlers of the Week. So if you're a fan of Wrestlers of the Week, next year is going to be absolutely...
I can't wait for Ospreay's hat-trick next year. I'm looking forward to it. He's going to be 70 and he's going to be winning.
He might not even win this year. That's not been mathematically...
Isn't he like 50 points ahead?
Yeah. And finally, we've seen it all before. It happens before seemingly every WWE pay-per-view. A news story emerges because someone spotted that the venue or a local advertisement in the town that it's being held has advertised. This is not the next pay-per-view. This is one like months in the future. Mm-hmm. Someone's advertised it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Lesnar, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's definitely." And even worse, if neither are the champion at the time, and then it's for the Universal title or whatever. Everyone's like, "Well, you've spot absolutely everything now." And then everyone kind of forgets about it.
Yeah.
And that's because it's not always legit. It's not always the actual match that's in play.
It's a placeholder to get people to buy tickets early on, isn't it? But the Golden One Centre released that Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, will be taking on either Seth Rollins, the current Universal Champion, or Braun Strowman, who's of course challenging Seth Rollins very soon. And they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match. So this has been reported in the Observer now that, hey, normally this might be a placeholder to sell those tickets. Yeah, but however, this is the plan.
This is the real quiz. This is the real. This is real. So apparently, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, this is actually what is in store. Rollins versus Rollins slash Strowman, whoever wins that match, versus the Fiend at Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell, at Hell in a Cell.
In a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell.
Bloody, in Sacramento, California.
I'd really like to see it. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a Universal title match, because they haven't said that the winner is going to be going on. It's one of the two, but I think one would assume that it's going to be the winner. I feel weird about it, because I can't imagine the Fiend with the Universal title over his shoulder.
Fiend has to win.
He does, yeah.
But you can come up with a reason for why he wants it.
Yeah, sure. But it just doesn't need it. I can't remember who said it. It might have been Cornette or Pritchard or something. He's an attraction. Doesn't need a belt.
I know, but I just kind of want to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it as well. A custom Fiend belt would be blood pouring out.
Yes.
Like the Maximum Sweat figures, but with blood.
With blood. Yeah. I want to see it. I don't mind because if they portray it as because sometimes you think, why is this eerie, mystical character, why does he want the belt? He shouldn't care about that. He wants to take souls or whatever. But I felt like when promotions do it right, it's sort of like when Lucha Underground did it, Mil Muertes won the belt, and then the next season the whole arena was darker and more weirdly themed because he had more power in the promotion because he was the champion. I think that if Wyatt wins, they should give him more influence over, not change the look of the show, but they should imply that he's now got more power because he's the champion.
Oh, I think they should change the look of the show.
Do you think?
Yeah, for a few weeks of
Halloween time. When's Hell in a Cell?
Bring the pumpkin back as well while we're at it. Goodness me. No, which would you rather see? Would you rather see Fiend versus Seth or Braun?
Oh, Seth.
Really, I'd say Braun. Because I think they'd do some nut stuff. A couple of big lads, chucking each other about a bit.
I think both would be good matches, actually. But no, I think Seth, because I think everyone would really relish seeing him getting absolutely tormented by the Fiend.
Yeah. I don't know, people like him again now.
Yeah, he reminded us that he's all good at wrestling, so yeah. But we'll see how it goes. So that is rumoured for Hell in a Cell at the Golden One Centre in Sacramento.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.